Revenue feeds the culture, but culture doesn't feed the revenue. And you can't pay salaries with equity metrics. $24 million in annual recurring revenue down to $4.8 million in 6 months. Top 5 salesmen fired for cultural misalignment. They started a competitor and took every single client with them. Me, 38, VP of Sales at Logistics SaaS company in Chicago. Built a sales machine that printed money for 5 years. About to watch HR destroy it all to fix a spreadsheet. Here's how ideology killed a profitable company. Let me set the scene properly, this matters. Logistics software market is brutal, cutthroat, unforgiving. You win by shipping features and closing enterprise deals. Our company, Dataflow, serves trucking and shipping companies. We sell them route optimization, fleet management, compliance tracking. $24 million ARR, Series C funded, actually profitable. This is rare in SaaS. Most companies burn cash forever. We make money, real money, positive cash flow. I run sales team of 40 people, built it from scratch over 5 years. Compensation model is simple, low base salary, uncapped commissions. You eat what you kill, hunters get rewarded. Base salary is $60,000, but top performers make $300K, $400K annually. Top 3 reps make more than our CEO. That's by design. Why? Because they generate the revenue that funds everything else. Engineering, product, support, HR, all funded by sales commission revenue. Our top guy, Marcus, age 41, is absolute machine. Former enterprise sales at Oracle, knows how to close. Brought in $4.2 million in ARR personally last year. December commission check alone was $85,000 just that month. He drives Porsche, wears $3,000 suits, lives in Gold Coast penthouse. Loud, aggressive, doesn't update CRM properly. Clients love him because he solves their problems and delivers results. This is important context for what happens next. In enterprise sales, Pareto principle is weaponized. Top 20% of reps bring in 80% of revenue. Marcus and top 4 other guys generate $18 million of our $24 million ARR. 5 people, 75% of company revenue. This is normal in sales. Rest of company, engineering, support, customer success, funded by these 5. Company runs smooth for years. We're printing money. Then board starts talking IPO, going public. They get nervous about optics, want to professionalize the culture. Hire VP of People and Culture, woman named Sarah, age 39. Comes from large nonprofit, 0 tech experience, 0 sales background. Making $165,000 to modernize our culture and prepare for IPO. First day, she's walking around sales floor looking concerned. It's loud, competitive, mostly male, guys celebrating closed deals. Whiteboard with monthly rankings, top performers get bonuses. Sales floor energy is electric, driven, relentless. Sarah schedules meeting with CEO and me. The sales environment is problematic, very aggressive energy. That's sales, we're competitive, that's why we win deals. I'm concerned about inclusivity and psychological safety. Our reps are psychologically safe. They make $300,000 and love their jobs. She's not convinced, starts her assessment. March 2024, Sarah announces compensation equity audit. Going to analyze pay across company for fairness. I'm not worried. Our comp is mathematical formula. You hit quota, you get accelerator, calculator doesn't have bias. 2 weeks later, calendar invite. Urgent. Wage gap findings. Walk in a glass conference room. CEO is there. Sarah has slide deck. Slide 1. Bar graph showing top 10 earners in company. All men, all sales reps, Marcus at the top. Slide 2. Bar graph showing bottom 50 earners. Mostly women, customer success, and admin roles. Sarah looks serious. We have 400% gender wage gap at executive earning level. I actually laugh, think she's joking. Sarah, that's not wage gap, that's commission gap. Those men are salespeople on uncapped accelerators. The women you're comparing are customer success on fixed salaries. Different jobs, different comp structures, not discrimination. She doesn't blink, the optical liability is the same. We cannot go to IPO with these numbers. It looks like Boys Club, we're concentrating wealth in specific demographic. Look at CEO, he's staring at table, terrified of bad PR. He's already folded, I can see it. We need to normalize pay bands and address cultural toxicity. Toxicity? You mean revenue? These guys fund the whole company. I mean gatekeeping of high-earning accounts by legacy demographics. This is the moment I realize it's not about math. It's about ideology overriding economics. April 2024. Sarah presents restructuring plan. Wants to cap commissions at $150,000 annually to promote equity. Wants to redistribute high-value accounts from legacy reps to emerging talent. The emerging talent are new hires she's vetted for cultural alignment. I fight this in board meeting. If you cap Marcus, he leaves immediately. If he leaves, his accounts leave with him. He owns those relationships. Show them projections. Lose top 5 reps equals lose $18 million in revenue. CEO says, that's a risk we have to manage. We need to diversify face of our sales team for IPO optics. I'm stunned. You're betting the company on optics over revenue. This isn't a bet we can afford to take. Board votes with CEO. Sarah's plan is approved. They're going to cap commissions and redistribute accounts. May 2024, the purge begins. Marcus gets called into HR. Sarah is there with termination letter. We're restructuring sales organization for cultural alignment. Your performance has been strong, but your approach doesn't fit our values. Marcus is calm. You're firing me for bringing in $4.2 million. We're separating due to cultural misalignment. He takes the letter, walks to his desk, packs his stuff. Doesn't yell, doesn't argue, just smiles and leaves. Within an hour, numbers 2, 3, 4, and 5 guys come to my office. If Marcus is out, we're out. Give us the separation papers. They've already made decision. They're a team. CEO tries to convince them to stay. We're evolving our culture. We need you to evolve with us. Second top guy, David, age 43, laughs. Evolve into making $60,000 base with cap commissions? No thanks. I made $340,000 last year. I'm not taking 80% pay cut for your optics. By end of week, all 5 top performers are gone. That's $18 million in annual revenue generation capability walked out. Sarah is thrilled, sends email to company. We've reduced our wage gap by 85% through restructuring. This is an important step toward equitable workplace. She's right, the gap is gone because nobody is making any money anymore. June 2024, Sarah starts hiring replacements. Posts job descriptions emphasizing collaborative approach and empathy. Conducts values-based interviews focusing on cultural fit. Hires 4 new salespeople, all junior, inexperienced. Great resumes, diverse backgrounds, 0 enterprise sales experience. They're on salary structure. $75,000 base, small bonus potential. More stable and equitable compensation model. I try to train them, really try. But enterprise logistics sales isn't selling consumer products. It's 6-month sales cycles with grizzled 60-year-old trucking company CEOs. These guys are brutal. They eat weakness for breakfast. Marcus used to take them to steakhouses at 2 a.m. and close deals. New team sends polite emails asking for alignment meetings. One new rep tells me, I don't want to be too pushy, feels aggressive. This is sales, you have to push, that's literally the job. I'm uncomfortable with aggressive sales tactics. I'm watching disaster unfold in real time. July 2024, the dominoes start falling. Marcus didn't go sit on a beach with his money. He got hired as VP of sales at our biggest competitor 3 days after leaving. Took David, the number 2 guy, with him as director. Other 3 guys joined various competitors in the space. Then Marcus does what I knew he would do. He calls his old book of business, relationships he built over years. Hey, it's Marcus. Yeah, I moved to Vector Logistics. Yeah, they've got that new tracking feature you wanted. Oh, the old place? They're going through some internal restructuring. Our 3 biggest accounts, $8 million ARR combined, give notice in 1 week. They're switching to Vector Logistics, following Marcus. I escalate to CEO. We're hemorrhaging. We need to act. Show him the numbers. Pipeline is dry. New reps can't prospect. Churn is spiking. Existing customers are leaving. We're on track to miss Q2 revenue target by 40%. Sarah intercepts my report to board. Add slides about improved DI metrics and culture score. Board meeting focuses on our metrics, not revenue decline. I'm sitting there thinking, culture score doesn't pay the bills. August 2024, Q2 numbers come in. Revenue, $6 million, down from $6.5 million in Q1, down from $7 million in Q4. We're trending wrong direction, bleeding revenue. But burn rate is constant. We're spending same amount. Cash flow has evaporated. We're burning runway. Need bridge funding to survive. Approach our existing VCs. They look at the numbers, see revenue declining. Ask what happened to top-line growth. We restructured sales team to improve equity metrics. You fired your top performers? Who's bringing in revenue now? We have new team with better cultural alignment. Lead investor literally closes his laptop. You fired the revenue to fix a spreadsheet? We're out. No bridge funding. We're on our own with 8 months runway. September 2024, emergency cost-cutting measures. Have to lay off 30% of staff to extend runway. Irony is brutal. First department cut is customer success. The same people Sarah was trying to protect with equity initiative. We don't have enough customers left to support, don't need the headcount. Their salaries were funded by sales commissions that don't exist anymore. Sarah is shocked. This wasn't supposed to happen. We fixed the wage gap. We improved the culture. You optimized for the wrong variable. We needed revenue. You gave us equity metrics. October 2024, the bank calls the loan. We have debt covenant requiring minimum revenue levels. We're in violation. They're calling the note. Can't pay. We're insolvent. Have to file bankruptcy. Company assets get liquidated, sold for pennies on the dollar. IP and customer list bought by, guess who? Vector Logistics. Marcus's new company acquires us for $3 million. We were valued at $200 million. November 2024, I'm packing my desk. 140 employees lost their jobs. Company is done. My equity, which was worth $2 million on paper, now worth 0. 5 years of building this sales or gone in 8 months. See Sarah in lobby on final day. She looks confused, genuinely doesn't understand. The metrics look perfect. We fixed the wage gap. How did this happen? You fixed a spreadsheet while killing the business. Revenue feeds the culture. Culture doesn't feed revenue. When you fire the hunters, you starve the village. She doesn't get it, still doesn't. 2 weeks later, see her LinkedIn update. New position, culture transformation consultant at nonprofit. She left before the collapse, landed safely. Got to put lead equity initiative at tech company on resume. Doesn't mention the company doesn't exist anymore. Me? I'm consulting now, rebuilding reputation. Making $150,000, helping other companies not make same mistake. Marcus is VP of Sales at Vector Logistics. Making $400,000 base plus equity, running huge team. David is his director, also making great money. Other 3 top guys all landed well at competitors. The new empathy hires Sarah brought in. 2 are working retail. 1 is at Starbucks. 1 is back in school, none of them in sales. They weren't built for enterprise sales, that's fine. But Sarah put them in roles they couldn't succeed in, then acted surprised when they failed. Now it's February 2025, 3 months after liquidation. I'm at tech conference, see our former CEO. He looks older, tired, humbled. Apologizes to me. I should have listened to you. I was scared of lawsuit, scared of bad press. So I let HR kill the company to avoid headline. What would you have done differently? I would have explained to board that commission-based sales creates pay variance. That's not discrimination. That's how sales works. High performers earn high commissions. That's the whole point. But the optics looked bad for IPO. The optics of bankruptcy look worse. He nods, walks away defeated. Think about what I learned from this disaster. Lesson 1. Revenue is not optional. It's existential. Lesson 2. You can't fix economics with ideology. Lesson 3. Top performers have options. They'll leave. Lesson 4. Experience matters more than cultural alignment in specialized roles. Lesson 5. Some people fail upward by reframing destruction as progress. Most important lesson. Math doesn't care about your metrics. $24 million in ARR requires people who can generate $24 million in ARR. You fire those people, you lose the $24 million. No amount of culture scores changes that equation. Sarah never understood this, maybe still doesn't. She saw wage gap and wanted to fix it. Didn't see that gap was commission-based performance variance. Couldn't distinguish between discrimination and meritocracy. So she destroyed meritocracy to eliminate variance and killed the company in the process. Now at 38, I'm rebuilding career from that wreckage, consulting with sales leaders who face same pressure. Board wants better optics. HR wants equity metrics. Sales leaders know they need revenue to survive. I tell them Marcus's story, show them the math. This is what happens when you optimize for spreadsheet. You can make the numbers look perfect right up until bankruptcy. Most of them listen, some don't. The ones who don't, I watch them make same mistakes. Fire their top performers for optics. Revenue craters within months. They call me later asking how to fix it. But you can't fix it, the damage is done. Top performers are gone, clients are gone, revenue is gone. All you have left is perfect equity metrics. In a bankrupt company. That's the story of Dataflow. $24 million profitable SaaS company. Destroyed in 8 months. Because HR decided commission-based sales was discrimination. And CEO was too scared to explain basic economics. So they fired the people who generated 75% of revenue to fix a wage gap that was actually just high performance. And learn the expensive way that you can't pay salaries with culture scores. Can't fund operations with equity metrics. Can't survive without revenue. No matter how good your intentions are. No matter how perfect your spreadsheet looks. The math doesn't care. And the market doesn't care. And Marcus doesn't care. He's at Vector Logistics, making $400,000. I'm consulting, making $150,000. Sarah's at nonprofit, making $120,000. And 140 people who used to work at Dataflow are unemployed because someone thought feelings mattered more than revenue in a business that runs on revenue. That's the lesson that I learned at 38, watching 5 years of work disappear in 8 months because ideology met economics, and economics won, like it always does. Eventually, 18 months after Dataflow liquidation, I'm 40 now, still consulting, reputation slowly recovering. Get call from former board member, guy named Richard. He was one who voted with CEO to approve Sarah's plan. Can we meet for coffee? I want to talk about what happened. Meet him at Starbucks in Loop. He looks guilty. I need to apologize. We made catastrophic mistake. We prioritized optics over operations because we were scared. Scared of what? Scared of Twitter, scared of headlines, scared of looking bad. So we let HR destroy $24 million in revenue to avoid criticism. He shows me article from TechCrunch. Dataflow bankruptcy. When DEI initiatives go wrong. Article interviews Marcus, gets his side of story. I brought in $4.2 million annually. They fired me for culture fit. Took my clients, started a competitor. Company collapsed 6 months later. Comments section is brutal for Sarah and CEO. This is what happens when ideology overrides economics. You can't run business on feelings and spreadsheets. Richard continues, "This article is what we were trying to avoid, but we created worse headline by going bankrupt. The story we feared became reality because we tried to prevent it." He's right. The irony is complete. They wanted good optics for IPO. Instead, they got bankruptcy and cautionary tale. "What are you doing now?" I ask. Advising portfolio companies, I tell them this story. I show them what happens when you optimize wrong metrics. Most listen, some think they're different, they'll get it right. We talk for another hour about the mistakes. Why CEO folded so quickly? Why board didn't push back harder? Why nobody stood up to Sarah when numbers were obvious? We were all afraid of being labeled problematic. Easier to go along with equity initiative than question it. Even when we knew it would destroy revenue. That fear is what killed data flow. Not malice, not stupidity, just fear. Fear of being called sexist, fear of bad press, fear of standing up. So they let it happen, watched revenue collapse, and acted surprised when math worked out exactly as predicted. A month later, get LinkedIn message from one of the new hires. Woman named Jennifer, one of Sarah's empathy hires. She was fired in first round of layoffs. I wanted to apologize for what happened. I was put in role I wasn't qualified for. Sarah told me I was perfect fit. I believed her, but I had no enterprise sales experience. First sales call I made, prospect asked technical questions. I couldn't answer, had to defer to engineering. Lost the deal, happened over and over. She's working at Target now, making $42,000. I'm not cut out for enterprise sales, I know that now. But Sarah convinced me I could do anything with right support. She set me up to fail, then blamed the culture when I did. This hits different, realizing Sarah hurt everyone. Not just the company, not just the top earners, but the people she claimed to be helping. Put them in impossible positions, watched them fail. Then moved on to next job, before consequences hit. Jennifer continues, "Do you think I could have succeeded with different training, different support? Honestly, no. Enterprise sales requires specific personality type. Aggressive, persistent, comfortable with rejection. That's not everyone. That's okay. Not a moral judgment. But Sarah hired for values instead of fit. She thought anyone could do sales with right culture. That's not how specialized roles work. We message back and forth few more times. She eventually finds role in customer service, much better fit. Makes $55,000, actually enjoys the work, plays to her strengths. Should have been there from beginning. But Sarah's ideology said everyone should have access to high-paying sales roles, even people who weren't built for it. Result, everyone lost. April 2025, almost 2 years after collapse. Speaking at sales conference about data flow case study. Room is packed. 200 sales leaders want to hear the story. I walk through the timeline. Profitable equity audit purge collapse. Show the numbers. $24 million, $4.8 million in 6 months. Explain the math. Fire 75% of revenue. Lose 75% of revenue. Q&A is intense. Everyone has similar pressure at their companies. Board is pushing us to diversify sales team. What do? Tell them you'll diversify by hiring best performers of all backgrounds. But you won't compromise on performance standards. Sales is meritocracy, or it doesn't work. Another question, how do you handle wage gap concerns? Explain that commission-based variance isn't discrimination. High performers earn high commissions. That's the model. If board wants equity in sales comp, you don't have sales anymore. Third question, what if CEO sides with HR over sales? Update your resume. Company won't survive the year. I'm serious. If CEO prioritizes optics over revenue, get out. Room goes quiet. They know I'm right. Several people approach me after, want to hire me to consult. Our board is making same noises. We need to prepare. Can you show them what happened to data flow? I start doing this regularly, showing boards the math. Bring Marcus in sometimes, he tells his side. I was top performer, brought in millions, got fired for culture. Started at competitor, took my clients, old company went bankrupt. That's what happens when you fire revenue. Boards listen to him because he's living proof. He's making $400,000 at Vector Logistics, driving new Porsche. Data flow is defunct. 140 people lost jobs. The math is undeniable. June 2025, Sarah posts on LinkedIn. Article she wrote, Why Businesses Fear Equity, a case study. It's about data flow, but completely rewritten. In her version, she was visionary fighting against toxic culture. I implemented necessary changes to create equitable workplace, but leadership wasn't ready for transformation. Companies' collapse was due to resistance to change, not the changes themselves. Comments are mixed. Some support her, some call her out. Someone posts, I work there, this is revisionist history. You fired our top performers and revenue collapsed. Company didn't resist change, it died from your changes. Another comment, this is dangerous narrative, making it seem like equity initiatives can't fail, when poorly designed ones absolutely can and do fail. Sarah doesn't respond to critics, only likes supportive comments. She's built an entire career on being data flow martyr now. Consulting fees are $15,000 per engagement. Teaching companies how to implement equity without resistance. I wonder if she tells them about the bankruptcy, or just the parts where she was fighting good fight. Probably the latter, easier to sell. August 2025, Marcus calls me. Vector Logistics is going public, IPO in 3 months. Want to give you a heads up, prospectus mentions data flow acquisition. We bought their IP and customer base for $3 million. Those assets are now worth $40 million in our valuation. He's going to make $8 million from IPO, owns 2% of company. Same company that Dataflow tried to compete against, until Dataflow fired their entire sales team and handed Vector Logistics the market on silver platter. You should have come with me, Marcus says. When I left, I offered you VP sales role. I know, I stayed to try to save it. Noble, but stupid, you went down with ship. Yeah, I learned that lesson. Come work for us now. We're hiring for expansion. I'm doing okay with consulting. Suit yourself. Offer stands if you change mind. Think about it for a few days. Going back to VP sales role would be full circle. But I'm gun shy now, burned by data flow experience. Consulting feels safer, diversified risk. Not betting everything on one company's decisions. Decide to stay independent, keep consulting, but appreciate that Marcus offered. He didn't have to, could have held grudge. But he's professional, understands business. No hard feelings, just economics. That's difference between him and Sarah. He sees business as math and relationships. She sees it as moral crusade. One approach builds wealth, other destroys companies. Now, it's October 2025, 2.5 years after collapse. Get email from CEO of Dataflow. First contact since bankruptcy. I'm writing book about leadership failures. Dataflow is main case study. Want your input? We meet for lunch. He's aged significantly. Hair is gray now, looks defeated. I've spent 2 years thinking about what went wrong. Every decision, every moment I could have changed course. The board meeting where I sided with Sarah over you. That was the moment, wasn't it? That was one moment. There were others. But yes, that's when you chose optics over operations. He's quiet for a long time. I was scared of being called sexist, scared of lawsuit, scared of headlines. So I let HR kill the company to avoid those fears, and created worse outcome than anything I was afraid of. His book is titled The Metrics That Matter. It's about how he learned to distinguish vanity metrics from vital metrics. Revenue is vital, culture score is vanity. Cash flow is vital, DI percentage is vanity. Customer retention is vital, employee satisfaction score is vanity. Not that culture and satisfaction don't matter, but they're lagging indicators not leading indicators. They follow from business success, not create it. If I could go back, he says, I would have explained to Sarah and board that commission variance in sales isn't inequity. It's how performance-based compensation works. And if they couldn't accept that, they were in wrong industry. Book comes out in December 2025. It's honest, brutal self-assessment. He doesn't blame Sarah, doesn't blame board. Takes full responsibility as CEO who made final calls. Reviews are good, sells well in business circles. Becomes required reading in some MBA programs. Case study in how fear-based leadership destroys companies. Sarah posts on LinkedIn criticizing the book. More evidence of how threatened leaders react to necessary change. But fewer people engage with her posts now. Pattern is becoming clear. She's toxic to organizations. Now it's February 2026, 3 full years since the beginning. I'm 41, consulting is going well, making $220,000 annually. Rebuilt reputation as expert in sales operations. Marcus's Vector Logistics IPO was successful. Company is worth $800 million. He made $12 million from his equity. He's VP of Global Sales now, running team of 200. The 5 guys who left Dataflow, all doing well. David is at another competitor, making $350,000. Other 3 are at various companies, all 6-figure earners. The new hires Sarah brought in, none lasted in sales. All found other careers. Most make $40,000 to $60,000 now. And the 140 employees who lost jobs at Dataflow, most recovered, found new positions over time. But many took pay cuts, many struggled for months. All because CEO was afraid to defend basic economics. That's the final lesson I carry from Dataflow. Leadership requires courage to state obvious truths, even when those truths are unpopular, even when people call you problematic for stating them. Math doesn't care about your fear. Revenue doesn't care about your optics. And the market doesn't care about your intentions. All that matters is, can you solve customer problems profitably? If yes, you survive. If no, you don't. Sarah never understood this. CEO understood, but was too scared to defend it. Board understood, but was too cautious to act on it. So they all collaborated on destroying profitable company to fix problems that didn't exist and create a disaster that didn't have to happen. That's the complete story of Dataflow. From $24 million profitable SaaS company to bankruptcy and liquidation in 8 months because HR found wage gap in commission-based sales. And everyone was too afraid to explain that high performers earning high commissions isn't discrimination. It's literally the job working as designed.